Everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Dreamers Game 1, where we are playing Yomi. This is turn 77. Let's jump into things. So, starting off, we have a bit of a situation. We have some trade. 10 owl quills from Helheim. So, let's talk about this real quick. Helheim is not out, but Helheim is on the out and out, and looking to pad my bottom line where possible, right? So Helheim has started asking if there are any items that I want from the massive Helheim bank, and so some of those might be coming over in the near future, but I've got a lot of stuff in my bank, right? So I have to be careful about not just, losing things to space or losing things to my space already being taken up. So what we could do in this particular instance was just toss some owl quills over. So this will be a nice little bonus to help shore up my research and hopefully get me a little closer to some of the targets that we're trying to hit at the end of the game here. So 60 research points per turn is nothing to sneeze at, so happy to have it. Thank you very much, Helheim. So we've got that. We've got several manifestations, 3 manifestations, so let's take a look at that. First manifestation. Ooh, okay, so this is a white mage, alright? White mage with an alchemist stone. Hold up. What is the alchemist stone? Is a legendary item, isn't it? The alchemist stone. Yes, it is. It's not an expensive legendary item, but it is a unique item. And it gives you an alchemy bonus. That's pretty cool. We have hit a white mage with an alchemy stone. This is, I'm assuming, one of the Augur Elders that we popped earlier, and now they are actually popped for good. So, very nice there. Next manifestation, we've got another Augur Elder. This one is not twice born. Has a storm spool. See how this goes. Horde of skeletons. Like a fucking charm. My god, the AI on these Ashen Angels is so good. So fucking good. Okay, and then we have another manifestation, this time targeting... What the fuck is that? Targeting a caveman champion. Probably just picked it up out of a province or got it from an event or something like that, so... Lands and kills. Alright, so manifestations this turn. 3 wins and 0 losses versus Irmor. Pretty fun. Two Augur Elders down. One White Mage, which probably was an Augur Elder at one time. We've got some site searching. Auspex found nothing. Augury found nothing. Voice of Apsu found nothing. Horospex nothing. Arcane Probing nothing. Another Augury found nothing. Gnome Lore. Dark Knowledge. Nada. Okay. We did, however, get 28 Blood Slaves this turn, so Jim and come Blood plus 28. And then we've got some battles. We've got some Magic Phase battles. One in Belfields and one in Llama. So, looks like Irmor is starting some stuff up. Very interested to see what's up. Okay. Maybe not. Is this Magic Phase? Can these guys... Does Irmor have a thing where they raise madmen and flagellants? Maybe this is not Magic Phase. I am confuzzled. This looked like it was in the Magic Phase. Definitely gonna be... Well, I say definitely. Yeah, definitely gonna be a win here. They're madmen, but... They can do some work. They are magic beings, so maybe that's a yes. All right. Interesting. Does Irmor have a spell that raises madmen? Irmor. National spell. Irmor has the Lar, which is absolutely not what this is. I wonder. Very, very unsure of what happened there. IDK. We also got attacked in Llama. And this is... This is a lot of long dead Triarii, which is a problem. The Soulless, not so much, but the long dead Triarii are actually pretty good. They have a very long repelling spear, and they hit fairly hard, and have high protection for a long dead. So we have our own little horde of long dead and ghouls here, so this might get a little dicey. We do have a demon priest here for some banishments, though, so there's that. See what we got. Are we ashes to ashing our... We are. We're hitting as many of our own people as we are. Ay, 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 yikes. That's no bueno. Oh, 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 oh. Crumble! You piece of shit! How is he not crumbling? Fucking what? He took so many turns to crumble. Okay. Well, we won, but that was about as pyrrhic a victory as possible. But we won, so we keep our PD. All right. That was a clusterfuck. Anyways, we have also taken over Belmar. We get to witness a battle, some battles between Ubar and Helheim. More Helheim or Ubar raid. Ooh, Ubar raiding, I was gonna say, but that's something else. Queen of Clouds has a Star of Thraldom, Ring of Returning, Shade Mail. Interesting. Cool. Nice. Ooh, Cloud Trapezed in here, I'm assuming? Although that didn't seem like a magic phase attack. What do we got going on? We've got a Moss Form. Yeah, I guess protecting. So Moss Form to protect from getting one shot by like a Moonblade or something like that. So Nefeli has a Ring of Returning, so she's not gonna die to anything that can't one-shot her. But in theory, something with a Moonblade and sufficient strength can hit hard enough to one-shot a Queen of the Clouds, a Queen of Air. So I guess and the Mist Form will help prevent that singular hit. And then Air Elemental. Getting more Air Elementals? Might be too much for Nefeli. Like, it would be a different thing if we were, like, throwing down a Wrathful Skies or something. Oop, and gets a poke off, and that poke sends her running. So what do we got? Attacked Helheim, but was defeated. Killed 3 Hellherdings and 6 Long Dead Archers. Yeah, I just feel like, you know, this was probably just for raiding, because this didn't look like this Queen of Air was prepared to deal with something like this, right? So interesting though. We took Pannonia, which means we didn't have our big clash there. Or Belmar, sorry, is where we were supposed to have our big clash, and Pannonia we came in behind. So no big clash with the Aether Warriors this turn. We got attacked in Color Megger. Okay, so they moved backwards. And they consolidated forces. So the Blink Bane is with the Aether Warriors now. That's interesting. Well, that battle. There's nothing we can do there. And then Ubar attacks with a Ifrit Sultan. Fire in a jar. Okay. Ring of Returning, etc., etc. Gonna do like a Firestorm or something? Mist Form, Phoenix Power, Fire Elementals. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Well, the fire has a bunch of fire gems on there, but the fire in the jar is really for the purposes of... Ooh. Okay, that's a lot to be using. You, like, calm yourself there. I mean, if you'd run into something big, that would have mattered, but I think, honestly, with something like this, just... If you're just raiding, just do, like, one fire elemental and then cast... you know, conservatively cast other spells, because this is gonna... One fire elemental is gonna take out 6 to 15 PD, probably, on its own. Or if you're really concerned, you could do Living Fire and then conservative gem usage. But you just used, like, 6 gems or 6 or 7 gems or something like that? Let's check. It seems kind of wasteful, I think, is my concern, right? Like, this guy is kitted out well. He's cool. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gems, because I'm not counting the 10th one from the Fire in a Jar. Used 9 gems to take out 1 PD. You know? Like... Yeah, I feel like in this instance, if you're just raiding with this type of situation, if you were trying to catch something, right, sure, that, obviously, that makes a difference. But if you're just raiding, just use, like, a fire elemental and then some fire evocations, or use the living fire, and then you can do, you know, you can use 5 provinces with that, and you're good. Anyways, hindsight is 2020. I'm Monday, you know, Monday football, fucking whatever. Anyways, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I'm not an expert here. Anyways, I will cut myself if I say anyways one more time. Battles versus Irmor. 3 wins, 2 losses. Moving on. Okay, we've got events in Black Harbor. A witch was drowned in the well of a village. 9 water gems. Very nice. A local lord has built a fortress in Barm. Okay. And we got 5 air gems. So let's check this local fortress. It's over here in Barm. On this little... We now have 3 forts surrounding this throne. Oh my goodness. Okay, so that's interesting to just randomly get a fort there. So events this turn: air +5, water +9, and fortification in Barm. So that's cool. Pretty neat. Okay, as we did last turn, I kind of want to try to reorganize how we review things. So we're going to jump into recruitment, rituals, and forging, talk about things as they are applicable there, and then go into movements and the world, etc. So, recruitment is pretty simple this turn. We've got 1 lizard shaman that we are recruiting up here in Cormark, because this is a lizard shaman province. We want to try to get a handful of them up here for a small communion, just to defend these lands, much like we have up here in the Almash lands. And then we have 5 Oni Shugos all over the place. We are going to try to increase our production of Oni Shugos throughout the territories, right? Throughout the Yomish territories, because Oni Shugos, now that we are researching some of these things, Oni Shugos are going to be very simple and easy thugs, right? We're probably going to start producing more flasks of holy water. Once we get alt 8, we get disintegrate, and that's really good. Every single Oni Shugo is either a disintegrate caster or a horde of skeletons caster at the very least. That's pretty strong. They're way more combat effective than anything else. They are bad research, but they are going to free spawn us Oni, and they're way more combat effective than things like Naminari. So I think at this point in the game, we need to be putting money towards Oni Shugo and not Naminari. And yeah, so that's the plan. So, aside from that, we have quite a few rituals this turn. Let's talk about them. We've got the site searching that we normally do. So we've got 1 Augury, 1 Auspex, 1 Gnome Lore, 2 Arcane Probing, 1 Dark Knowledge, and 1 Haruspex. We've got 9 Corpse Constructions. We've got 1 Curse of Blood, 1 Fairy Court, 1 Troll King's Court, 1 Sea King's Court, and 3 Manifestations. So, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of gems being used. Let's talk about why. The Manifestations are normal stuff now. We're probably going to be doing those just about every turn. Again, targeting Irmor's capital. Simple, easy peasy. Next up, the Curse of Blood. Basically, every time we get Blood Slaves to the point to where we can do Curse of Blood, we're going to be doing Curse of Blood. So no big surprise there, right? This will be our 4th vampire. Pretty excited about it. It's the next 3 things that are kind of the interesting. First being Fairy Court. We have been saving up nature gems for a little while. We actually have a decent little nature income now. Fairies are going to be a easier way of getting higher air into our fights, as well as higher nature, either or, right? We have noticed problems with them in the past, so we're going to try to keep that in mind. But I think a couple of Fairy Queens here or there are going to be useful for us to make sure that we get things like Mass Regeneration, Fog Warriors, etc., into our armies. So we've got that going on. Troll King's Court is much the same way, but for Earth. We do have some-ish Earth access here in some of our random Dionies that are decently strong. So that's nice, but most of our Dionies are 2 Earth, right? So 2 Earth makes getting up to something like Army of Lead or Gold not impossible, but more challenging, right? So take a look real quick. Army of Lead, Army of Gold are both Earth 5. So a 2, right, can, in theory, and they cost 3 gems. So a 2 can, in theory, with Earth Boots, Earth Power themselves to be Earth 4, and then use 1 gem to push them up to Earth 5, and then 3 gems to actually cast the spell. But it requires you to summon Earth Power first, which delays getting your Army of Gold up. So alternatively, an Earth 2 can have Earth Boots and a Bloodstone, right? Is what they're called? Yeah, a Bloodstone. And then they will be Earth 4 as a base. And then they can do Army of Lead or Army of Gold with 4 gems right off the bat. Bloodstones are more expensive, right? And they are more difficult for us to produce. So that's an option, but we have a shit ton of Earth gems, right? So I am trying to not have to make 50,000 bloodstones where I can just make some earth boots. A Troll King is earth 3 out of the gate, earth boots, they're earth 4, easy peasy, go from there, right? So that is part of the thinking there. The other part of the thinking is that Troll Kings are actually just really decent little thugs, right? Like, you can throw some decent gear on them. You can actually do some different stuff rather than the normal sets of gear, since they have such high starting protection and they already have regeneration and things like that. So you don't have to go with the stock standard gear sets that we've kind of been using for Dione. So having higher base Earthcasters to throw into our army more consistently, that's useful. Having some decent little thug or super combatant chassis is useful. And then, as long as we are careful about it, about the upkeep of it, having these trolls around and about can also be useful. Especially as we climb into blood and we can get things like Rush of Strength to make them even stronger. Having these guys on a flank can actually be very interesting because they hit really fucking hard. And they take buffs very, very well, right? So they take things like added regeneration and protection buffs and things like that, and they become very, very difficult to actually kill in certain battles. So we don't want to do very much because they are very fucking expensive. 64 gold per year. I think this is 80 gold per year, right? And then the Troll Kings themselves are actually super expensive, 160 gold per year. So we don't want to do that too terribly much, but we have been able to kind of grow our income a little bit here lately. So we're probably going to do two total, maybe 3 total Troll Kings courts. That way we have a couple of Troll Kings that we can send out because we don't want to send out Felman, right? And then the same thing basically for the Sea King's Court, but to a lesser extent. The Sea King's Court is not as useful, right? We'll take a look at the units that we get out of it next turn. But the Sea King itself, water tends to be less of a useful general path than Earth does. Except if we do go to fight against Lanka, we could potentially do some pretty interesting things with water there. There's a particular like demon, damage buff. I can't remember what it's called. My mind's blanking. Nope. It's enchantment. Demon cleansing. Right, so demon cleansing. All demons will take double damage from all attacks. Now, we're demons too, so that's a really bad thing for us to use, generally speaking. But if we create certain like situations where it's like, a couple of liches or a couple of vampires or a combination thereof, or some other super combatant chassis that we get our hands on, and we toss in a demon cleansing in that type of situation, that might be something that Lanka is not expecting, right? And not that we're necessarily going to go fight against Lanka, but trying to keep my options open. We also just have a lot of water that we're not doing anything with, and we could entertain the idea of going to war with Relay after this, though I don't think that is something that we're really thinking about. There's also just pawns, right? If we go to war with Ubar, which I think is probably the next logical target, Ubar has some pawns, which would be easy to throw some trolls into. So that is an option. Then there's also the thing on top of Sea King's Court is that Sea Kings generate water gems in a momento. So anyways, Sea King's Court is something else that we are looking into to utilize our stuff for, our gems for. We have to be careful of these types of things, the Sea King's Court and the Troll King's Court, because they are very high on the upkeep. So gotta be a little careful. And that is really it as far as discussing the rituals. Forging is going to be pretty quick. So, forging, we have Lightless Lantern, 1 Armor of Knights, 1 Firebrand, 1 Dragon Helmet, 1 Scutat of Volturnus, 1 Boots of the Messenger, 1 Ring of Regeneration, and 1 Amulet of Anti-Magic. And this very specifically is... It's a full gear set, is what it is. So, this is the first turn where, aside from the Lightless Lantern, right, we are actually just building across the board a full gear set to throw on a Dione or something like that, right? So we're going to try to continue doing that. We might not be able to every single turn because we might have a different focus, but that is going to be a little bit of the goal. Okay, so we've got a lot of movement. Let's talk about actual stuff. I gotta wrap this up. We got a lot of movement going on in various locations. Most of what we are doing is just moving around to collect things for Oni or random Bakemono show or what have you. We don't have any crazy traps going on this turn as far as like trying to catch out those Aether Lords or anything like that. So we're just raiding into territories or trying to preemptively like guess where he might counter raid. So we're gonna hit Kohler Megger, assuming that they're gonna move. We're gonna hit Belfields. Gonna jump into Sulfuria and Erd, assuming that they're gonna try to counter raid, etc. And then the other big thing, really what's the focus this turn, is we're going into Silverwall. So Ainu is here. We're going to Silverwall. You might see we are actually going in with Ainu and Benjiro. So this is a little dangerous, but we're going to do our best here. So this is what the second lead shield is for, is to hopefully keep Benjiro alive long enough to do this. But we're going to try to use him as a fluffer. Ainu's going in and immediately throwing up Iron Will. Benjiro's going in to Bless, and then Iron Warriors. The issue that I'm realizing here, and this is done after the fact, so I can't really do anything about it, but they're both size 4, right? And these are both... well, the Bless will probably work, but the Iron Warriors absolutely isn't going to work, right? Benjiro will all but guaranteed prioritize himself. Maybe he does. I will say this: the AI does try to prioritize higher hit point pools, and Ainu does have 2 more HP, so maybe that will matter. Maybe Benjiro will actually hit Ainu with the Iron Warriors. Even without the Iron Warriors, Ainu should have enough protection to be safe, generally speaking, unless we get some water elementals. I guess water elementals don't matter; they'll ignore your armor. So should be generally safe regardless. The big play here is just getting Ainu in there and getting Ainu to 36 magic resistance. We said 38 last turn, but that was because we were in drain scales, I believe. So we have slightly lower magic resistance here. And yeah, that's the whole shebang. We're gonna try to just turn timer that group. Obviously, we're the attacker, so if we turn timer, then we're gonna flee first. But we don't have one. We don't have Boots of Flying. 2, Ainu actually has really high encumbrance and is not gonna be fatigue neutral for this. So I'm hoping Ainu is gonna get fatigued out and then not be able to run. And then I'm hoping everyone else will run and we'll see how that goes, right? So, aside from that, the other big news is kind of what we talked about at the beginning here. Getting items and things like that from Helheim. Helheim still has much of their territory, right? Like, they're not throwing in the towel yet. They are going to keep fighting, but they have a lot of miscellaneous shit in their treasury that they're kind of like, okay, hey, do you want any of this? Because it's not doing us any good, right? So that is the conversation that is happening right there. And that, I think, is going to be the end of this turn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. If If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.